Ahoy there. Today on the Red Sea, I deliver pizza. Whenever I'm in an elevator with others, I crack a joke about how we'd at least have some food if we all got stuck in here. Done it hundreds of times. Always gets a laugh. What jokes are you able to tell at work over and over again because you always have a new audience? My coworker is in a wheelchair when he's waiting for an elevator and the doors open to reveal that it's already full. He says, "That's alright. I'll just take the stairs." Then he rolls off out of view. Does not usually elicit laughter so much as stunned silence, but it kills me every time. Man, I haven't not had sex in 2 weeks. Usually said after a month out to sea on a submarine. I work at a bank, and when people come in I ask, "How can I help you today? I need to make a deposit, but I do not have my account number." A very common response. To which I reply, "That's okay, we can use my account number for that." Always gets a laugh. Always. "Doctor, have you done this procedure before?" "Nope, but I stayed up all night reading about it." I work at a wastewater treatment plant. Whenever someone says same malarkey different day, I always respond with, "If it's the same malarkey, we're doing it wrong." Usually gets a laugh. "You look to be about 21, right?" To elderly folk buying wine. 100% laugh success rate. Probably say that 100 times a day. "Have you tried dough? I think you'll need to see some ID for this one." When someone walks in with a toddler, it's not funny. I laugh cause it's polite. I work at a supermarket. Whenever a customer gets a really long receipt and some coupons, I hand it to them and say, "And here's your eating material." You'd be shocked how many people laugh / how hard they laugh. I'd laugh so hard. Especially with those damn CVS receipts. Feel like 3 feet long. Never had the chance to reuse any jokes, but I once asked an elevator repairman what it was like doing what he did. His reply, "It has its ups and downs." Even though I had heard that joke many times before, I did not expect it for some reason. He was probably waiting for someone to ask that very question. We both just laughed and went on our way. A lift at work is always going wrong, and every time I saw a new engineer I always said to him, "I bet your job has its ups and downs." They all loved it. Except this one guy who threatened to push me down the lift shaft and kill me. It's okay though. I'm still here, alive and not down a lift shaft. I work in at a Chinese restaurant where we sell metes. Whenever I deliver it to a guest I say, "And here is your tea." It's always good for at least a pity laugh. I used to be a dishwasher back in the day and would help chefs wipe sauce off the rims of plates when prepping up to 300 meals at a time. Whenever they told me to hurry up, I told them, "You cannot rush a good rim job. .. I used to work at Ruby Tuesdays, and one of the things they had was a margarita. It was a large margarita. I forget the size, but every single time someone ordered it and I would bring it to the table, I would say, "Sorry, we only had this small one available tonight." Everyone always laughed. It was a stupid joke and I hated myself for it, but everyone else loved it. I used to work retail, and whenever customers asked for a price check on an item that did not have a tag on it, they would usually follow it up with something along the lines of, "Is it free?" To which I would reply, "Sorry, that sale ended yesterday. Here's another." When a customer yelled, whistled, or snapped his / her fingers to get my attention, I would run to them as fast as I could. I deliver archive records. People, for some reason, always think this is going to take days and days. When I arrive on the same day, they are inevitably blown away by our quick response. And every time, with each new receptionist, I toss them a wink and say, "You should see our express service. Sunglasses. Door." A guy I used to work with would always say, "I hear this is where dicks hang out," whenever we were in the restroom. I was on the receiving end of the joke. Guy gets into elevator pulling a wheeled cart full of mail behind him. He looks at me and says, "I'm the mail escort." I work at Chipotle. Whenever I'm at the rolling position and I get a couple with burritos, I will write yours on one and look at the person and say, "This one is yours." I usually write not her / his on the other, and it always gets a good laugh. I do not know why. I do not really think it's that funny. I was a college tour guide, and I always started with encouraging them to ask questions. Otherwise it'd be like an awkward first date with me talking and getting nothing in return. They always laughed at this, although it seems dumb on paper. Another thing I did was, since we had keyless entry to our dorm rooms via our student ID card, I'd put my butt up to the door to unlock it. ID card always in my back pocket. And explain how we all get a chip planted in us to open the doors up. People thought this was hilarious. I do not know why. There are others of course, but I'll spare you all. I work in the hospital, and my patients are usually 10-day stays and voluntary surgeries. As they leave I always tell them good luck. Do not come back. 50% of the time, I get a laugh. Work at a bank. Anything else I can help you with? Not unless you're giving out free money. We only do that on Sundays. Banks are closed on Sunday. I sell sex toys. It is policy that we put batteries into all battery-operated toys to see if they are defective. This intimidates most people, as I, a tattooed stranger, will be handling the toy that will shortly be inside and/or on you. I always say something like, yeah, we have a no return policy, to which people always laugh and ask, you mean to tell me that people try to bring their used vibrators back? Overheard a sex toy purchase once. Lady behind the counter is verifying the vibrator's operation and proceeds to tell the customer that they should use old or cheap batteries because they are weaker and keep the motor from burning out too quickly. The guy working the register next to her says, yeah, and you will not want to chip your teeth. I work at an eyewear store. I always tell people my honest opinion, but I always follow with, but do not listen to me. I do not have to look at you every day. Works every time. I used to work in door-to-door sales, and I had a ton of them. Most commonly, if I knocked on someone's door and their dogs went nuts, I would say sorry. I did not mean to set off your home alarm system. People love that one. I'm not employed right now, but I'm in school to get a career in radio. Whenever people ask me about it, I bring up how I want to get in the profession because people always say I have the perfect face for it. It always gets a good laugh. And to be fair, I still find it kind of funny. I'm a grad student and do research on chronic wrist injuries. I have done experiments with live human subjects as well as cadaverists. The number of times I have made a "can you give me hand" joke is alarming. During the summers I work at a hotel in northern Cape Breton. If you're not familiar with the region, it's very mountainous, especially up near us on the top of the island. A lot of our business is cycling groups that travel the entire Cabot Trail, which goes over several mountains. The most intense of which is North Mountain, which is the last one before us on the trail. The cyclists always arrive completely beat and panting by the end of the day, and I always say, yeah, I can imagine it's hard cycling over that mountain. My foot gets tired pushing the gas pedal going over it. It gets a mixed response. Some of them love it and laugh. Some of them look like they want to kill me. Regardless, I still enjoy saying it. Whenever I'm in an elevator with a pizza delivery person, I press the stop button, face him or her, and threaten physical violence unless I'm given the pizza. But I'm only kidding, of course. It does not usually get any laughs at all. I'm a 27-year-old cashier. Me, how's your day going? Customer, pretty good. How about yours? Me, living the dream. I'm a skydiving instructor, and this is a nearly exhaustive list of the jokes that you hear on most drop zones. Personally, I go for mainly the morbid jokes and the ones that duck with other instructors, lap sitters, etc. The harness jokes are constant. The crude stuff is unfortunately common, but becoming less and less so as more and more DZs get sued when putting on the harness. Are the leg straps too tight? Can you still feel your toes? Yes, okay, let me tighten it some more then. Okay, it looks like it'll work. If it does not, you'll be the first to know. Oh dude. This is the harness that got recalled. Harnesser replies, oh yay. Oh well, the tape looks like it's holding up. It still has another jump left in it. When walking to the plane, you ready to jump? Yes, well that makes one of us. Say goodbye, waving. Then, to family on the ground, do not worry, I'll bring him/her back and as many usable pieces as possible. Best said to boyfriend of your female student. When in plane, student sitting on your lap. What's the difference between a Ferrari and an erection? I do not have a Ferrari. What's the difference between a Harley and an erection? I do not let people sit on my Holly. From the time we are strapped together, we do everything together except for one thing. When you see a bright light at the end of a tunnel, do not follow me. You hear me? You walk towards the bright light. Some of the instructors need the student to full sit up on their lap to tighten the harness all the way, which happens in the plane about 80% of the way through the flight. Some of us just jam our crotch into the student's butt and tighten it up that way. The crotch jammers, me, like to duck with the lap sitters. When they get the student up on their lap, will turn to the student and say, good job, now just wiggle around, bounce up and down. The lap sitters ducking hate this malarkey. I ducking love it. Students always get weird about their goggles for some reason. Especially Asians who wear glasses. We keep them hanging off a clip on their shoulder. When people ask for their goggles, we ask if they paid the $0.37 goggle fee. The best is when you can get a couple dudes running frantically around the drop zone before their jump trying to find 37 cents so they can buy goggles that are hanging off their shoulder. We generally put the goggles on about 30 seconds before we jump. Sometimes when I'm feeling sadistic and I have a goofy student who puts his goggles on while on the ground, I'll just tell him, good job dude. Do not take those off until we land. I feel like a dick, but it is oddly satisfying to watch someone wander around with fogged up plastic goggles on the ground. What's the difference between a bad skydiver and a bad golfer? A bad golfer goes whack ... malarkey. A bad skydiver goes malarkey ... whack. You know how to stop a bad skydiver? With the ground. Where does a skydiver go after a bad landing? Everywhere. Alternate. In a bucket. How do you clean up after a bad landing? Just get the hose. How do blind people know when to pull the parachute? They just wait for the leash to go slack. Now, if the jump goes bad, I'm gonna need you to help me out. Okay, right before we hit, I'm gonna have you take a deep breath. Student breathes in, hold it ... and close your mouth tight. Instructor steps back and looks, unsure. Okay, that should work. You'll make a good enough airbag. If the student asks how long the jump lasts, well, if everything goes according to plan, about 20 minutes. If it does not, you're gonna be skydiving for the rest of your life. What do you call a skydiver who just got dumped by his girlfriend? Homeless. Why do the birds sing? They do not have to pack when they land. What's the hardest thing about skydiving? The ground. Then there is every variation of the "it's my first day" gag. Makes it awkward when it actually is your first day. Though, thank God you only have to have that conversation every 20 minutes for one day. Some drop zones give the passenger cash to hand to their instructor. It's fun to find a student and say, we're going to have a stewardess come and collect the cash on the plane. Do not, under any circumstances, give this money to your instructor before you board the airplane. It is company policy that you cannot let anyone on the plane until they have paid the instructor. Hilarity ensues after the parachute opens. When feeling particularly sadistic, sometimes during the opening I'll pull a steering toggle and start spinning the parachute. Basically you're in free fall, and then next thing you know you get jolted up and are now spinning with the parachute out. Screaming oh my god, not again. I don't want to die. While you spiral towards the ground helps tie it all together. After the parachute is out and we have verified that everything is working, we need to disconnect the bottom 2 connection points to make it so that you're just connected to our shoulders. When we disconnect the lower body, a lot of pressure gets released from the lower body and it feels a bit like the harness is coming undone. The next step is to loosen up the chest strap, saying something like, okay, I'm just gonna disassemble your harness real quick, while actually taking malarkey apart always makes for a good laugh. It's usually fairly peaceful and calm, relative to the skydive that just happened. Sometimes the beauty of sunset, the changing color of the forest we jump over, just happened. Beautiful. Some gorgeous, puffy clouds will kinda take my breath away. Welcome to my office ... It's kinda cramped, and I have to share it, but I have a hell of a view, is a common one. Sometimes I just have an honest conversation about how amazing it is. Can you believe how gorgeous this is? We just fell out of an airplane and now we're in the sky. Look down. You're not standing on anything. We're in the sky. Not a joke. But we have a saying that, if said, will happen under canopy. If riding in an airplane is flying, then riding in a boat is swimming. If you want to experience the element, get out of the vehicle. If you are reading this, you made it until the end of the video. There is no more after this. Click the thumbs up button since you liked the video because you made it until the end. On screen there should be some more videos similar to this. So either go do something else or watch another video ... That's it. I do not know why you are still here ... What are you waiting for, another joke or something? Okay ... Are you ready? Coming in 3, 2, 1.